Yeah. So welcome everybody. Um, do you want to lead, Stephen, or do I lead? I don't know.
Yeah, I think today we're very very happy to actually unveil the well, not the final, but the first official release of BioCoherence,
Oh, it will
which
never be the final.
yeah, not the final because it's probably going to change by the end of this call, you know. Frederick's going to be typing really quickly as we speak, coming up with new features.
No,
But
it's actually a good point you raise because I'm very grateful for your feedback from everybody, whether live on the calls or by email, because it's really a great value for us to make the perfect product. You know, we couldn't do it if we didn't see it through your eyes. So please continue. And my goal is really to make the best software in the planet. So I need you for that.
done. Yes, so this new version is a design overhaul as well, and
Yeah.
making it a lot easier for the therapist to actually engage with our clients and to be able to take the client on a much smoother process while taking out all of the heavy bits that might confuse them, where basically you're now in complete control. So it's something that can be used by the individual right now on the Play Store or as a referral from one of you great people on this call.
Hmm.
So, without further ado, Mederick, over.
Okay, so um, yeah, let's start with the app. What we did for this, so this is probably the first real release. So if all goes well, we are out of beta for real after a few months of hard work. Um, what we wanted to do in this version is make it easy and intuitive for everybody because we need anybody to be able to go to the App Store or the Play Store or our website and be able to use it easily. So what I was starting to show you last week was two very important things. One is the basic programs that could be used by anybody straight out of the box without even doing a scan. And the second one is the AI helpers that could help people understand and dig deeper into the app without having a huge, steep learning curve, because there is so much information packed in the app that it might be a bit complicated to get the hang out of it from everything. So I already gave you a preview of these functions last week, but it's actually published today. So you can update on biocoherence.net/install to get the latest version for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And it's currently under review. It's also published on Android, so you can probably update soon on Android. So this is version 1.20. And it's currently under review for Apple, so it will probably be published today on Apple, which means that it will be pushed to your device between today and tomorrow. Um, so I saw that since last week, some of you has already tried a little bit the AI, so I will probably ask for your input on this. Is it good or not? Is it useful? Does it do what you ask them to do, and so on? But first, the new interface. So this is what it looks like now. So when you start, so I am currently a professional, so I can change the contact. So I am working on me, but if I choose another contact, um, it will put the icon on top. But if I work on myself, I don't need to have the icon here. So it will just say the active account is yours. This is the new intro. So when you launch the app for the first time or when there are some updates, you can just get this intro screens, and then you go here. Um, the main zone is harmonized now with a direct access to the AI helpers. If you have an ongoing 21-day meditation session, it will appear directly here, and then a direct access to your personal or basic programs or energy, body, mind. So if you click on this, you will directly get to the basic programs. And if you have some basic programs that you did or that your therapist did, you will find them directly in these folders. And then you have the former tools that you already had in previous versions. So something to evaluate now, to do a new recording or to do a live test, and the zone to open records. So this is the same as before, but it's just a little bit nicer. So when you open a record, now this is also much nicer. So this is basically the same menus as before. I'm going to put it here so that I look at you instead of looking on the side. So this is basically the same menu as before, it's just nicer. The conclusions are grouped in first. So priorities, resources, AI helpers, and the PDF report. A lot of things has been also done behind that in the PDF report and so on. The second zone that was balanced is now here, front and center. So you have direct access to the Harmonic Boost and the personal guide, but you also see you are on day 8 on 21, so you see the progress bar. Yeah. This is also something that you will see on your homepage if you are an end user. Then you have the analyze part, so biomarkers, energy, body, mind. And by the way, you see that we are trying to keep a consistent color. So energy will be always brown, body will be red, and mind will be blue. So this is something that we will implement in the whole interface. And then you have the progress, which you had before, but you see there is a curve that is the mother of all curves. It sums the progress of all your different sections. And then behind, you can see different curves that are the color of energy, body, and mind. And this is actually your different priorities that could then be expanded here. So this is the evolution across several recordings. So you start with your priorities, but you can also choose a specific family. For instance, let's take the chakras. And here you will see the evolution of all chakras and so on. So this is the curve section. And again, you find a summary here. Then you have the test frequencies on items, and then the option to share. So about the news, since last week, when you share access to the record with your client, I'm not sure I am a client, so it will not work. Yes, I am working on myself. So let's say I'm a pro and I will choose another contact, and I cannot because it's computing, so I have just to wait for that. Okay, so let's work on a client. Let's open his record. Something. As you see, I clicked on open this record and there was a little notification saying it's fetching from the cloud. That is because this record has been updated by the user. And as soon as I click on it, it will check if the record has been updated or not, and it will automatically download the latest version so that the record is always in sync between you and the user. So now I can open it. I still have this information and progress and so on. What I wanted to show you is when you share access with the contact, it will send it to the cloud. But now you have some new items that you can actually change. So you can share the personal guide, which is a meditation. You can share the harmonic boost, which are the frequencies. You can share the report or not. Okay, so the report can be something only for you if you want. And you can share the AI helpers of your choosing. So, for instance, let's say you want to share the naturopath and the TCM practitioner and the herbalist. Okay. So you can choose which one your client will have access to. And these helpers will be limited in their knowledge, in that they can explain what you did in the report, but they cannot change anything in the report. And especially they cannot change the priorities and resources and frequencies that you chose on the user analysis. So they are here to just alleviate you on some explanations, meaning that as soon as you share this recording with the user, he will be able to play the 21-day meditations, to play as many harmonic boosts, as he wants, and to ask questions to these three AI helpers to get some more information about his biomarkers and analysis and so on. So you are in complete control of what the user can do with the analysis that you send him. Okay. And if you want to send him the report, you have to check it like that. When something now happens with the helpers, you will have at the end of the conversation, you will have a summary that will appear on the side of the helper, and you will have the ability to include this summary in the report. So it can be useful for you to, if you have a discussion with the helper, to remember what it is about. And there is also a rating at the end, because this is still quite experimental. So at the end of the discussion, we will just ask if it was useful or not, and if the action was successful or not. So this is actually useful for us to fine-tune the helpers. We will probably add new domains here. So if you have some ideas, just tell us your ideas, and we can maybe fine-tune and prepare some specific new helpers if you find some new needs. What is also new is on the settings. I started to show you that last week. You can show or hide some resources and priorities. And since your remarks last week, it's now a red cross instead of a green check, which was quite misleading. So you can, if you don't want to work with, I don't know, organisms, chakras, and the meridians, you can just remove them from your automatic resources and priorities detection. So it will not appear directly in the priorities after your recordings. And remember, you can also add favorite basic programs. So if you check this, all the basic programs that you added into your favorites will be automatically added to the priorities. So you can systematically add some items to the priorities of your users. And then you have, of course, the ability to remove them if you want. So if you are working in a specific field and you want to systematically add something for, I don't know, some feelings or some meridians or some organs, you can do it with this tool. Then for the report, you have the ability to... Je suis en conférence. Ouais. Je suis en conférence. You have the ability to remove some parts of the report. It means it will be generated, but it will be grayed out as when you do the report. So you remember when you go on the report, you have some sections on the top, and some are grayed and some are light. It means that when you go into complete, you won't have the meditation because it's grayed, so it's not part of the PDF report. So if you want to include or not the meditation, you have to click here, and you can, oh, this will be corrected. Okay, you can hide the section by just checking that. Okay, so if you unhide it, it will be part of the report. And now it's smaller, by the way. And if you hide it, it will not be part of the report. Okay, so this is something that you can preset if you go back into the settings, and you can say that on the report, you never want the meditations and you never want the points and the meridians, for instance. so that the report starts with your presets. But then you still have the ability to add them one by one if needed. Same for the menus and zones. So some things are still a bit cryptic here because it comes straight from the technical zones in the app. So if you don't understand it, don't bother. I will fix it. But some are more understandable. So for instance, if you want to remove the polygraph, I don't know, or the frequencies or the harmonies, it will just vanish from your interface. So if there are some of the graphs and maps that you don't like or don't want to see, you can just personalize your interface here. Privacy. I've added a fourth level of privacy since last week, which is 7 and 10, which means if you choose this one, every one of your recording will be automatically marked for research. So every one of your recording could be used for statistical analysis and anonymized research. It means, as you know, we have thousands of biomarkers, but we don't have precise means for all the biomarkers because we don't have enough measurements for every biomarkers. So once we hit several hundreds of thousands of measurements, we can start doing some big data on it and get some norms, to say, okay, we see that in 90% of the population, this particular biomarker is between this value and this value. So we will say the norm is, for instance, between 35 and 60 for this particular biomarker. And this is an information that we can only do if you allow us to do some research on the results. So if you are willing to share your results, you can either share them for research when you save them, or you can preset this function by just checking here this privacy level, which allows basically everything, including the AI helpers and the BioCoherence cloud. Okay, and then on the settings, you have a direct access on your accounts and to reload everything if you need. And we also put the invitation code field in the setting. So if you have any invitation code to enter, you can always enter it here. An invitation code can be anything from the invitation to share a list, for instance, or to share a particular report. You can share a report with someone by just sending an invitation code. You can share a list you are working on. You can share basic programs. For instance, if you have some basic programs that you keep private, you can share them with someone by just sending an invitation code. So invitation codes are pretty useful for a lot of things. And then what is new in the lists now? If you go to lists and if you edit your list, you can now actually see all the audio that has been generated here. So you can, if you create a meditation and you request an audio recording, you can access directly all the languages that have been generated from this page. I started a new list that is called functional meditations, for which we did just a care routine. So this one has an audio now. This is a list that we will expand in the coming times. So if you have ideas for some functional meditations, like my wrist is broken, for instance, Stephen.
More thanks to BioCoherence.
Yeah. The idea would be that these meditations could be added by you for every customer, every client, according to some general needs that would be specific to some kind of problems. So if you want to come with some ideas with that, just shoot them to us and we can create some meditations on that. Okay. as you can see, we have removed the top navigation here. So it shows the title here, but if I start into biomarkers or else, I will get this top navigation. So I can still choose the different items from the top. But if I go back here, I will get the title. And at last, we have put the back arrow at the same place than on every other page, which means on the top left. It was very confusing, so now it is fixed. You can go back to the home by clicking on the usual top left arrow. And you can go back to your record by clicking open. You still have when you have an open record, you have an access here to go to detailed analysis to always go back to this page. What else? We fixed a lot of little annoying bugs. What did we do else? Help me, Steven. I'm lost.
Well,
AI
I think
helpers.
I think a lot of the
Yes,
stuff.
sorry, let me just say a little thing about AI helpers. So you can access the AI helpers from a report or from the homepage or from a user perspective. These three different use cases have three different skill sets. It means if you go from the homepage, you will not go from a recording. And if you choose to just chat with the helpers and not open a recording, they will not have your biomarkers. So you can only chat with them. And in that case, they can only build a basic program for you, which would come out from the discussion. So if you want to do a basic program around, I don't know, your sleep, you can just close the analysis, go to the AI helpers, start to sleep with the sleep coach. You have to access. And here you see the first assistant asks you either to do a measurement or to open the last file or to open another record or just to chat without record. And if you chat without record, the goal is to prepare a basic program. Okay. So you will have a discussion. He will ask you what you want to do with this basic program, and then he will be able to create a basic program and to save it into your basic programs, which is quite nice. So it's another way to create some basic programs for you. And for instance, if you go to the basic programs, do I have one somewhere? Maybe this one. So these are the programs made by Christine, but this is a program made by an AI, I think. Let me just check that. Yes, probably. So you can actually create some basic programs with the help of an AI, just with a discussion. It means that if tomorrow someone installs the app from the App Store and doesn't have a therapist or doesn't have an Apple Watch or doesn't have a sensor, they might be able to get something tailored to your needs anyway, just by discussing with the helper. So it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Okay, and the third mode is when you open a recording from a user perspective, you can still chat with the AI helpers that you enabled as a pro, but they can only explain the results, not modify or create anything.
So sorry,
Yeah.
just to be clear there, based on a conversation that an end user without a sensor would have with the AI, it will build a program for them and save it in their personal program
No, in the
directory.
basic programs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Into the
it will be
basic.
saved in the basic programs. It will not be tied to an analysis because an analysis starts with a recording or a test. So we don't have any biomarkers.
So you can basically sit there and talk to the AI and say, I felt a bit stressed when I woke up this morning. Then I had a
Yeah.
big argument with somebody in work today. Can you
Yeah.
basically help me to de-stress? And it will
Yes.
save that in your programs.
And
That's
it will,
fantastic.
and it will create a basic program for you. And
Wow.
when you launch a basic program, yes, something new again. I think my brain is melting. Let's say you want this basic program. So it has these contents. If you do a personal guide, so if you actually start the meditation, Um, you will have a choice to make it in 1 day or in 12 days. So the 12 days will be different for each of the programs. So it could be 7 days, 14 days, 3 days, and so on. But this is the same as the 21 day. It means we are trying to do something rather short, so 20 minutes. And it will use one element from each of the main categories. But if you are in dire need of doing it right now, you just click on 1 day, and it will be much longer, and it will include every item in the basic program. And so once everything is downloaded, now you can do it, but you see it's 71 minutes, so it's much longer. So we have the same logic here. When you start a basic program, it will be on your homepage to say this is the program in progress, and you can just launch it in one click from your homepage. And you can just make it shorter by making a short short meditation every day, or just making longer and a long meditation just for 1 day. And it will be the same if it is created by the AI helpers. So when they create a basic program, they will add it to your basic program library, and they will propose that you start right away. So yes, it's pretty awesome to be able to have something tailored, even if you don't have a sensor. But of course, if you have a recording, it's much more precise, and they will be proactive, and they will be able to really dig into your results. Yes, Jason?
I was just logging into BioCoherence on my laptop.
Yes.
And this window popped up, and that looks very unusual to me. It looks like code.
Oh, okay. So my bad.
And
Did you just download it?
No, this has been downloaded on my computer for a while, but I just went to log in. I don't even know what I started to type in my email.
Yeah.
And it just popped this open.
I opened mine up too from the app. I went back through the app store, and I have one page that's in French. So
yeah, so maybe switch to English and we start. Show me again, Jason.
This looks like,
yeah, this is not normal. So you have to just this is a very, very beta version probably. Just download it again from biocoherence.net/install.
I just wanted to show you because it was concerning. Like I wondered if somehow I'd gotten into somewhere where I shouldn't
No,
be.
it's probably just me making a mistake in one of the versions. So I don't know what version you have, but just take the last one.
Could it be like a debug screen that popped
yeah,
up?
it's a debug screen. So it should not be in the distribution. So you probably maybe you downloaded it just at a moment that I let a debug screen on it from the beta version. It's possible.
Okay.
I
just wanted to share in case there was anything unusual.
Yeah. So you just go on biocoherence.net/install and you can get the latest version.
I'm on 1.19 or no, yeah, 1.19.8 or something like that. I haven't seen any of those screens yet, and I've been on that for 2 days.
Yes, no, it's just because he probably downloaded the version just at the moment or where I made a mistake and I've let the debug screen on it. It's my mistake. So sorry for that.
Oh no, it's
anyway. I just ran the latest version and it's clean, so it's okay.
Cool.
Something else about the public programs. So let me share my screen again. Now, when you open some of these programs, not this one. Sorry. I don't know which one. When you go on Harmonic Boost, yes, you can see that here there is a little one here. It means that one export is already done. Because it's a public program, when you do an export, it will just fetch the MP3 from our server. It means that it's directly available. And you will also be able to directly send it to somebody via email without sending it actually from your device, but it will be sent from the server. So right now you can share it here and it will download it and share it from your device. But in the next version, okay, in the next version, you will be able to send it by email directly from the server. Because as it is a public program, it is the same for everybody. So this export is the same for everybody. Even if you do some variants, so if you want, if you want just the body or energy, I think you will get them here. Or maybe not for the public programs, but you see there is a little cloud here. It means it's in the cloud. We have the same system now for the Harmonic Boost from your programs. So if I open this one and I go to Harmonic Boost, and I want to export, okay, let's do it. It will be saved on your device, and then it will be directly accessible the next time you open it without having to recompute it. Even with the different variants. So once it's ready, you will have the different variants here in the same way that I've shown you before, and you can directly share them or download them. Again, in the next version, there will be a button to calculate all the variants. It means with protocol, only the energy, only the body, only the mind, only with influence, and so on. And so you could get the whole collection while you are doing something else, and then download the whole collection at once. It's not yet ready, but it will be possible in the next version. And yes, you can still do something while it's computing, and it will notify you when it's ready. So even if it's a long program and it's long to compute, you can still use the app and get a notification when it's ready. Another point about the harmonic boosts and the list items. So now if you add some meditations, for instance, and you see my MP3 file is ready, so I can go back to it. Up. Sorry, here. Yes, and now I can just save or share it. And you see it's recorded here, meaning that next time I open that, I have it here ready to be shared. With a little icon here saying that it's locally on my computer, but not in the cloud, okay? This little icon means it's on the computer, not on the cloud. And you can share it, you can save it, and you can recompute it. So if you make some modification to the program, you can always recompute it to include the latest modifications that you did.
People could then put them up onto places like Spotify and things like that, and it would maintain the icon and the name of that. Is that true?
The icon is included into the MP3. I wouldn't say you could put it on Spotify, but you can certainly share it on internet if you want. I wouldn't advise to share specific programs done for someone, but I'm actually totally okay if you want to share the basic programs with anybody, even outside of the users. And that is why when you share it, you have the icon and the logo and so on that is included in the MP3 so people can know where it comes from. But maybe we should do a Spotify playlist, I don't know.
Yeah. De-stress after
you want,
work.
TJ, you want me to do a Spotify playlist on a YouTube channel with that?
That'd be a good way to get it out there. And
yeah. I was my idea with the basic programs is that they can be exported, and once it's exported, anybody could just share it. So I certainly expect them to be in torrents or anything else like that. So that's fine.
And yesterday we were talking a little bit about marketing things, and what would be nice is if we had a little clip of the frequencies, maybe like one that inspires people to get the
Why is
app
that?
or something like that we could put.
Yes,
Well, because I
that's
was
on my
saying that
to-do
I
list.
made a little reel sharing the BioCoherent. I just screenshots some of the app and made a thing, and people really see that and they go do that. And I used my friend's band had a nice song behind it, but it would be nice if we actually had BioCoherent frequencies behind
Yeah.
that.
I need to take some time to do that, and I want to make a movie with cymatics,
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
we
he
say
was saying that you
cymatics
were
or
getting
cymatics? I don't know.
lasers.
Yeah, and it's the best ones I saw were just little cups of water, with a laser that would go straight over the water and the camera on top, and just by feeding it sound, you would see the different waves. So this is a setup I need to do. Yes, Dan.
Please do.
Yeah.
I have this yesterday after Jason's
Sorry, Dan.
great
If anybody
introduction.
wants to do it, you have the frequencies. So it would be just one thing less for me to do. Yes,
I,
Dan,
I,
please.
So yesterday, Jason brought up it was a great conversation that was just immensely valuable. So my question is so, in the protocol or in the 21-day program or for any thing that you're doing that has frequencies generated, and then you add voice. Jason was saying, well, kind of sounds like my wicked stepmother,
hey,
and the voice.
don't get me in trouble.
I'm sorry. I mean, he was just using that as an example. It's not his wicked stepmother.
Oh,
Anyway, so and that might be a turnoff, but that kind of popped a question into my head. So my voice has a frequency, Jason's voice has a frequency, your voice, Medric, has a frequency. Does BioCoherence, I mean, is if I'm using my frequency instead of maybe your wife's or Jason's wife or whoever voice, is that calculated in the frequencies?
No.
I mean,
No.
in other
The
words,
frequency is pre-recorded. The voice is pre-recorded, and you are right. It is generated from my wife's voice because she already recorded some meditations for our farmer app. So we used the same voice. The goal would be to have at least two different voices, one male and one female, for the user to choose. But this is something we didn't do yet. It would be impossible to generate the voice with your own voice because it would be too time consuming.
I was just using that as an example. My question is because now you're adding a separate frequency to a scan that's based on a personal analysis. So now you're adding an outside. And I'm just asking, is that good or bad? I mean, does that have a value, or is that an or an if statement, right? In the sounds that are generated that are coming into my ears from a personal analysis that has an outside frequency added. I mean, is that making sense? Maybe I'm just going down a rabbit hole that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't really follow you. The frequencies are coming from the protocols and the harmonic boost that you chose, and the voice is just here to help you visualize things. So I didn't take, I didn't tweak the voice to include specific frequencies.
Well, okay, so I mean, I'm just saying, but the sounds generated by BioCoherence and the frequency or the voice, the external voice, are both coming into my sound. So is that so in other words, is that something that's shifting now? Does it shift? And shift could be good or bad, but is it added or is it subtractive? I mean, I don't know, and you may not have the answer, but that's just what popped up listening
I
to
would
that
say only
yesterday.
your emotional connection to it. Otherwise, the voice wouldn't affect the frequencies, Medric, is what he's saying. Does the voice tones? I think Jason's got response, but
yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
say only
I'm
the
through.
emotional. What you're saying, if it's your mom or something, and you had that emotional connection, it would deal. I don't think it technically with the science of the harmonics, it wouldn't throw off what BioCoherence is writing.
Yeah, In essence, frequencies are a kind of information, and the voice is another kind of information. But what we use for the voice is just a guidance, So it's a way to help you visualize. But the voice by itself does no direct healing like the frequencies could do. The frequencies are really bioactive. The voice is not meant to be bioactive, but it raises an interesting other ideas that I have that maybe at one point I will add a voice analysis module to extract the frequencies from your own voice and to maybe get also some interesting informations from it for the analysis. But right now it's only an idea. But maybe we could extract some interesting features from your own voice, but it wouldn't change the voice from the guidance. Ultimately, as I said, there would be several different voices, so you could choose a voice according to how you feel, but it just makes things a bit more complicated because we already have something like 20,000 different audio clips. So if we add another voice, that makes 20,000 new audio clips and so on and so on. So it's a lot.
Well, yeah, I was just, my whole question was just, you are interjecting other, the voice, my voice has frequencies. It has overtones, harmonics, everything. So
I don't think it has a bioactive effect. I think it has an emotional effect, as you say, TJ. So maybe, yes, Jason, I will be with you there. So maybe you could react in a certain way to this particular voice because it would evoke some particular feelings with you. And that would be an issue that could be solved by just proposing a different kind of voice. But the particular frequencies that are in the voice are not proactive by themselves. I mean, a voice could have bioactive effect if you start singing, for instance, or if you start saying mantras. So yes, if the voice was starting to say mantras, I would be very cautious to what tones are in the voice. But right now, the voice is really just meant to help you visualize how to handle things in your body and your energy, Yes, Jason.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to crack something open that might not be relevant at all. It was something I was thinking about. I did suggest it, and I agree. I think that from my perspective, again, it's going to be a matter of me going, what did I notice change? When I listened to the voice, were all the other things the same except I heard the voice and something bad happened? That would be the first thing that would be necessary to pay attention to it, right? I mean, you could probably and the mention of the wicked stepmother was just an analogy, and it was a second thought that I believe your wife has recorded all that, right?
Yeah.
Is that her voice?
Yeah.
So please forgive.
No problem. Nothing personal.
Same suggestion, because I have absolutely enjoyed her voice for the last number of days that I've been doing the guided meditation, and it's actually made me assess much better every time I use it. So
okay.
I just want to say I enjoyed the voice too. I was just saying, does that add an extra component? I mean, I think it does add an extra component because I was comfortable. I was comfortable with the voice, but
yeah,
I
mean, it's just
the answer in terms of the nervous system is everything matters. Everything that occurs within any situation matters. So if your dog comes up during your meditation, or you pay attention to some change in the sequence of things, or your eyes look at something, or how you're hearing it on one side versus the other, and if you pay attention to that. So there's so many things that either matter or don't matter, kind of like TJ matter. Just don't make whatever you guys do, just don't make the audio TJ's voice, because that definitely makes me assess worse. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so So yes, just to answer precisely your question, Dan, there is no harmonics work in the voice. The voice is just here to be a guide you can trust, you know. And for me, the most important part is that I've heard some meditations that would upset me because I was feeling what the speaker or speakeress, I don't know if you can say that, feels somehow. And I was feeling some manipulation, you know, and I really hate manipulation because as an empath, I've fallen for some manipulators, you know. So now my manipulator radar is very, very fine-tuned.
That's a great.
So
Thanks for.
this is something that is of the utmost importance for me, is that you can safely do this journey inside yourself, knowing that you are guided by someone with noble intentions and not willing to manipulate you, you know. And that is the most important thing of all. So this is also why it's Christine, because I know how Christine works, and she's just when she does sessions, she's just there for you, and she doesn't take anything for her. Maybe that's really the point of having a voice you can trust, you know. Yes, Jason.
And absolutely, I just want to add that I am grateful for that, because I don't know much about your wife, but from what I've heard, I would think that the important thing would be having some voice that could inflect deeply from the heart.
Yeah.
And knowing that is true with her, I would imagine that it's fantastic for everyone.
But
yeah.
you know, the irony is that I hope I won't spoil you anything, but this is an AI generated voice. I mean, my wife didn't record 20,000 clips in 5 languages, you know.
Yes.
So it's amazing because you can actually. I mean, we are under the impression that she speaks in all the languages. And if you told me, did she record this? And I didn't know, I would say yes. So the quality is amazing. But it's AI generated, which, in my opinion, is another layer of good thing, because it removes all possible manipulation intent, you know, because it's created by a non-conscious computer somehow. It leaves you entirely in the driver's seat. It means the voice is just here to guide you, but you are the only conscious person in the room. And for me, it's another layer of strength that you cannot be manipulated because this voice has no intent by itself. It just has the intent to guide you, you know. So I think it's even more powerful.
It has no personal inflections in the voice. Is that what you're saying? Because it's AI.
Yes,
which
but
in a
it
sense,
has personal inflection and so on, but it has no intent to deceive you or to manipulate you because ultimately it's been computer generated, and last I saw, computers have no souls. There is our connection behind it because we are the creator of the app. So of course our intent is everywhere in the app. So ultimately, if you want to find one who has the intent to do something in the texts of the app and so on, you will probably go back to us. But our aim is that as much as possible, you are in charge of what happens in your body, because the ultimate goal of this app is to empower yourself over your health and your body and your energy and your spirit, and to just give you tools to be a better person for you and for others. And for that, we need to remove ourselves as much as possible from the equation and leave you with powerful tools to empower yourself. You know, that's the spirit I want to develop in this app.
Maybe we should have the voice sing the meditation.
Yes, but it would add a new layer of complexity.
But actually, it's still Christine's voice, though, right?
Like, yeah.
It's
still Christine's in, yeah.
But the AI takes the emotional and the empathetic manipulation out of it, so
I
it's
think so. Yes.
balanced. That's what I'm getting to add it to. That I believe that it's yeah.
Yeah.
But Mederick,
Yes.
during the meditation, I had moments where I didn't really hear the voice so much because the frequencies were more powerful. Is this on purpose?
Yes. So we will add something in the next version to be able to make the background noise half volume or lower volume, because for some people it could be disturbing. But
Yeah.
when you do this kind of meditations, you should put it on a level that you almost don't hear the voice. It should be almost subliminal, you know. So the white noise is made to create a cocoon around you. Robert Monroe would call that torus. What's the name it gives? I'm blanking.
Taurus?
A toroidal field.
Yes. It's your own energy field, your own energy bubble, he says. So this white noise, I don't know if you listen to it carefully, but in a former seminar, I showed you some screens of what it looks like on the screen, and you saw there are some waves, some very long waves like that, and there are actually several different waves that are embedded one into each other, so that it's a white noise, but it rotates around you. And if you really go into this white noise, you can feel your energy going around like that. So this is your own personal defense shield somehow. And it should envelop you, and it should create a safe space that is to the shape of a torus, because if you do the addition of all the magnetic fields in your body, it will actually create a torus like that. And there are several ones. There is one around your heart. There are several ones around your different chakras, and there is a big one around you. And this is the same around planet Earth, for instance. If you see images of planet Earth's magnetic field, you will see that it's a torus. And interestingly, you get some, what's the name of this, when the sky is colored in the poles?
The aurora.
Let me, aurora, yeah, aurora borealis.
Aurora borealis.
Yes, aurora borealis, yes. This phenomenon arises because some of the magnetic particles shot by the sun can actually enter the top of the torus and the atmosphere and excite the particles in the atmosphere. And I believe we have the same in our body, you know. We can actually enter through the crown chakra information and rotate it like that. So this is a kind of protection bubble that we have around us. And this protection bubble is activated by this white noise in the meditation. Then you have frequencies, and these frequencies have specific bioactive reasons to be played at this particular moment, including if you add some protocols, it will have some effects in your systems. And again, we play several frequencies at once to be able to activate one specific organ or set of organ or meridian or acupuncture points, and then embed over it the corrective protocols that you could add. And then the voice is here for your conscious part, because we are very keen to think about everything as human beings. So we need to visualize things, and visualizing things is extremely powerful. But not so many people are able to say, okay, now you can visualize your kidney. Not so many people know exactly where their kidney is. So, okay, if I say your right hand, it's fine. But if I say some specific part of the brain, or I don't know what, you need this voice to help you visualize where it is. But when you visualize where it is, your intent goes into it. And this is extremely powerful because you can drive the frequencies at the good place and use it for your own good, okay? The same with the acupuncture point. We use a lot of acupuncture points in the app, especially with Chinese recipes. And it's very difficult to work properly with acupuncture point in meditation if you don't know precisely where they are. So that's why we have some active guidance that tells you where they are and tells you how to visualize them. And yes, for your question, Christophe, the voice should be quite low, so it's a bit drawn into this big bubble because this bubble is your active protection, and then the voice is pervading. Is that a word? Is going through to help you, but it shouldn't be too mental. You know, it should be something that you do in a very it's meditation is a technique for self-hypnosis, you know. So if your mental is trying to control everything, it doesn't work. You have to let go. And to let go, this voice should not be too high. But some people need to have maybe the first times, you know, to have it higher because, or maybe they have audition problems or something like that. So that's why in the next version we will add a lower threshold for the noise so that you can hear the voice and frequencies better. Does that answer your question, Christophe?
Yes. And do you also distinguish between carrier waves and you already mentioned bioactive waves? Because I listened to Dan and he mentioned like, oh, people they make devices that bring you the Schumann wave,
Yeah.
but it's only the carrier, but then it's not, you know, the full experience.
Okay, so what is a carrier wave? A carrier wave, for instance, when you listen to the radio, you tune to a specific frequency. So if you listen to FM radio, you have frequencies between 88 and 108, which are megahertz probably. So this is the carrier frequency. And then on this carrier frequency, for FM mean frequency modulation. It means that the frequency will change slightly around this carrier wave to encode the actual signal. So the receiver will go on the carrier wave and decode this variation and transform it into audible waves between 20 and 20,000 hertz. If it's AM, so the old radio, it's the amplitude that will be changed. So the carrier frequency will always be the same, but the wave will be higher or lower in amplitude, and this will be decoded. So all of these are techniques to send a message across a specific frequency. And this is not a technique that we use in this app. We use direct frequencies, so there is no carrier wave. We only send the pure frequencies. The only thing where we can have something that resembles a carrier wave is if you use binaural beats. Because when you use binaural beats, you have, for instance, 400 hertz in one ear and 410 hertz in the other ear, which creates a 10 hertz beat between your two ears and which will train your brain into 10 hertz. And of course, we cannot feed 10 hertz directly to the brain because you cannot hear 10 hertz. It's below the hearing limit. So in this case, we could say we have a carrier frequency of 400 hertz and the real message is 10 hertz. But even there, we don't do that because we only use bioactive base frequencies. It means we will not use 400 hertz by chance. We will just use a frequency that speaks to one of your organs or one of your emotions or something like that. And maybe over that, we will embed another frequency which would create the binaural beat. So it was complicated, but the answer is no, we don't use carrier waves. I hope I was not too technical. Okay.
Amazing. Nice job. Incredible. Looks amazing.
So, what about next? Yes, I think we have to work on this movie, doing some frequencies. It would be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, Christoph, you have some projects too, so we are eager to see.
Can I ask one more question about
yes, please.
potential marketing project? So if I would go outside on the street and interview someone, you know, it's like what many people do. So I thought you could make a twist, like if you can repurpose the BioCoherence. So I have them answer the question while they have the BioCoherence. So I was wondering, would it be better to make, you know, just a regular measurement and see, you know, whatever the brain frequencies are doing, the brain waves, or would it be better to create a frequency list and measure them against some list while they are answering some questions?
I don't know. Maybe you just do a recording. Yes, you can also do a live test if that's your question. Yeah. I think you have to make some tries and see how people react to it. It's true that doing a live test and seeing the needle move in real time can be quite compelling. So maybe you can try that. And also, when you do a live test, at the end, anyway, you have an analysis, because if your test is long enough, it's doing an analysis in the same time. So if you start with a test and you have at least 128 bits, you will have a complete analysis. You don't have to do a second recording. It's true also when you do that as a pro. If you start with a test, it will save the recording as an analysis too.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can try that, of course. Okay.
Any more big questions before we stop the recording?
Usually we say, okay, we stop, and then we have a very interesting question.
Well,
So I will not stop.
Jason has his hand
Yeah,
up.
Jason.
Go ahead, Jason.
So you already answered a question that I had from yesterday about being able to change the volume. So I was working with my 86-year-old grandfather-in-law, so to speak, yesterday, and he was saying that he could not hear the voice at all. And when I turned it up, and because of the overlay for him, you know, it just didn't. So you already answered that you were planning on being able to adjust that, but the explanation that you gave was extremely valuable, and thanks for going into that much detail. And I would think that it would be fantastic to have some detail from you on the system in relation to the volume, maybe some information that someone could just read about that, because I mean that was incredibly valuable. I did ask about the possibility of a pause button, and so and I went and looked on a Mac computer, and then I have an iPad on my PC and on my Android phone. I have not found a pause button during the guided meditation.
I think you have it. So there is no pause button in the interface, but I should add it again. I think there is one if you play it on a phone. Now that you can switch the screen off when you play, you have the system controls, and the system controls are actually controlling the app. But I'm not sure there is a pause button in it. I have to check it. But we removed the pause button at one point. I honestly don't remember why. So I think it will be back in the next version.
I think it's important to obviously try and continue without interruption.
I think at the time the pause button would only pause the voice, but the background noise would continue indefinitely. And I was thinking it's a good idea, but I think it was a perturbation for some people because they didn't feel like it was pausing. So maybe we should pause everything and restart. I don't know what's the best.
Well, that's a juggle, isn't it? Right? Because if it's just the kind of thing where everybody can just pause it whenever and start back, and they never really get the full experience, then
yes, okay,
you
but
know,
why not?
does
I
it
mean,
lose it?
it's your
Because
tool. It's your tool. It's your choice. So if you want, if you need to make a pause because someone is just ringing on the door and you can't, I understand it's frustrating. So,
yeah, well,
of course, nobody should be ringing on the door during your meditation, but you never know.
well, the other thing that came to mind in terms of the cymoscope or the cymatics, I know you know the reference to the water device that's already been designed by I can't remember his name, Stewart. But that is very interesting. And one thing that I did see on an app from Cymoscope is that now you can see your voice in visual, and you can actually snap a photo of that. I don't know if that would ever be something that would be you know, valuable or useful in the app. I think it's definitely very interesting to me as maybe an analysis of, you know, when I am speaking,
Yeah.
where is my tone, where is my inflection? So
Yeah,
um,
that's something I said. Maybe I would research a little bit because it would be useful maybe to record your voice and get an analysis from the tones of your voice. But honestly, I didn't really dig into it. So I know some people did that, and it seems they might get some useful information. So I will see if I find a way to get some useful information that could recoup or complete what we have in the app. You know. Mm.
well, I don't want to add anything onto your
No, but
stack.
we just have tons of ideas. So I think once everybody is happy with the analysis as it is, I think the next big idea is to be able to do several scans and compare people or tune several people to one lead during a group meditation.
Yeah.
That would be the next big thing on its it's probably the next thing we will expand in the app. We also have some new screens that we really need to set up from Christine's latest books around life missions and things like that. So that will lead to some new screens into the mind section. But I really want to do the new work on being able to scan several people at once, locally or remotely, and just tune everybody together. I think it would be huge.
How would you tune people together?
By just using the music.
Okay.
Because
So when
because I can decode the music and the chords, and then I can lead people to be on the same tune. So if you do a group meditation, you can have one leader and measure what chord and what bass music he is, and then tune everybody on the same tune. And at that point, it creates connections between people, heart-to-heart connection. And that's what happened when you have a very nice group effect where you feel you are connected with people. It's because everybody is attuned to the same. And that actually, as a technical name, it's called resonance. When everybody is on the same frequency, information can just fly from one people to another through the resonance effect. So my goal is to be able to tune a group to the same resonant frequencies and see if it's actually creating bridges between people. That would be huge.
Mhm.
And the other thing would be if you can do some group measurements, you can compare people. So you can do one-to-one, like what is the strengths and needs of one people on how can one people help the other one on specific topics. So like, I don't know, couple therapy, but power 10, power 100.
That's
Like,
what Christy was
okay, you are
suggesting.
good at work at one thing, and your partner is in need of this thing. So maybe you should focus on this. So that would be huge. And then if you expand it even more, you can do some, I don't know the English term, familial constellations. Does that speak to you?
maybe.
Yeah, okay. So familial constellations is when you take a group and you see the relationships between people, and that is also something that we should be able to compute at one point when we have this new module of measuring several people at once. Would be really interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, do anybody want to do some feedback on the AI helpers if you started playing with it? Or is it too soon? No, TJ, you're happy?
Well,
Jason has his hand up.
Yeah.
I have the version, the PC version, not the newest one, and I asked it. I just asked the questions. I wasn't quite sure because of the the headings. Like, is this really mind or is this, what is this? What is this go? Where is this going? I'm not familiar with the like even the characterized names of the doshas or
Yeah, that's
chakras
yeah.
or stuff like that. It didn't. So I just was selecting one and saying, well, I would like to generate a protocol, for this mind or whatever, and it would. I mean, it did it, but then I don't know if it was actually connecting to. In other words, say I want to work on my heart. Okay, and
Okay,
I'm just
so
using that as an example.
just to be clear, if you start from the homepage, you can create a basic program. So it will just create a basic program with your requirements. But if you start from an analysis and from the analysis homepage, you click on AI helpers, at that point, it will receive your actual measurements. So
Okay.
each helper will receive between 5 and 10% of your biomarkers related to the field of expertise. So if you go and see, I don't know, the sleep coach or the meditation coach or the naturopath, they will receive different sets. And for instance, you can try the essential oil expert because he will receive the list about essential oils with the readings of the list. So it can actually create you something. If you go to see the herbalist, it will receive your assessment on these herbs and it can create a custom tea for you, for instance. So it's actually fun. Yeah.
No, so actually then, okay, so I did do it for my one January 19th. That's what I had open.
And it's
then
better.
I asked,
it's better in the last version. It's more accurate in the last version. So
well, but I didn't. I had the report open, but then I was at the homepage, and then I selected AI.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it was giving me AI for my report, or I was
if the report is still open, yeah. If the report is still open, it will work on the report. Yeah. So if you don't click on close the report from the menu, it stays open.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, it worked. It worked great. I mean, it came up with, well, it was only 5 lines, right? But, it looked, I mean, I don't know, I'll have to go back where before I had to go back and analyze and look, and go into the manual and say, okay, yeah, this is really, what is TV1? What is that? Oh, well, it's under meridians. Okay. But what is TV1? Well, when you click on it, you go, and then it gives you just it's just basic. It doesn't really, but then as you dig deeper, then you find out, oh, and resource, then you find out the connections. You have to keep digging. Now it's easier.
So maybe it would be
click
useful.
on this and it goes there, then you click on that and it goes right to where you want to go. You don't even have to think about it.
So maybe it would be useful to have a direct access to the AI helpers from the biomarker panel. If there is an AI helper that is related to this particular biomarker, maybe you could just start a conversation from there. Yeah, I think about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, anybody else has some feedback on the AI helpers?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. I'm also using it, the AIs, but I'm just wondering.
Did you try in Croatian? Because you should be able to speak in Croatian.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know, but I'm using English. No problem. But the only thing, did you you selected like a few biomarkers for every AI separately, but can we get like a master that gets all the biomarkers so we can get some overview?
No, because it's too much. But
too much.
Each AI has the ability to ask the app for additional biomarkers. So if you go to the TCM specialist and you ask about some things that he doesn't have in his initial selection, he can actually get some more information. But the initial selection is made to try and, because if we give 1,400 biomarkers to an AI, it will be lost. So we have to prepare the data for it. Anyway.
Yeah, so, understand. I managed to AI life coach. I managed to get him to get more like biomarkers and give me like a wider perspective. And it was nice. So this was my idea, but it's very, very useful and something that it's very easier to also for me to understand, but also to give to others. So it's very nice. And this is all the updates. Like I'm not just into discussions and this stuff, but it's going like I see the things and you fix it. So it's very nice. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great. So yes, you should be able to use the AI in your native languages, so you can try that. Sometimes it still suggests answers in English, but most of the times it just works in any language. So try it and tell me if it works. Okay, maybe we'll stop here. Unless someone else has something interesting to say.
Thank you.